Hi, good morning everyone. Good morning, Mr. Race. My name is Indra Lesmana, and this time I'm going to make a video reaction of poem. Here I got the poems. I write down the poems because I think it's natural if you write down with your hand without printing. Okay. And I choose Accent by Rupi Kaur because I think this poetry is modern. Why I call it modern? Because the poet means the author of the poem is she's young. She's young. She's only 26 years old, and she used to post a lot of poems in her Instagram, and the accent is one of it, and that's why I choose it because it's also controversial, and yeah, it's very interesting. That's why I choose this poetry, and also it's like it's a bit portraying like each of her poems is actually portraying this life. I mean this current, yeah, something like that. So, and now I'm going to read this poem because it's very interesting. And why don't I read this? Okay, pay attention. My voice is the offspring of two countries colliding. What is there to be ashamed of? If English and my mother tongue met love, my voice is her father's words and my mother accent. What is the matter if my mouth carries the world's accent by Rupi Kaur, right? Okay. If I analyze each of line from these poems, it is easy to understand, and it's very common words, and the meaning of this poem is actually, yeah, I'm going to convey the first, like, that is the meaning of this poem. The meaning of this poem is actually Rupi Kaur addresses the struggle of being from two different worlds. She used her voice and her accent to explain to a reader something that should not have shame attached to it still can. It's mean that Rupi Kaur is actually want to embrace herself of having two different worlds because she spoke two language, because Rupi Kaur is actually come from India and half Canadian. Well, it's obvious that in this poems that she portraying as a person who has two different worlds, right? Okay, that is the meaning. And number two is actually the message. I think the message of this poem is actually how we embrace the difference. Like, maybe we have a two blood descendant. For example, Rupi Kaur is actually Indian, but her father is Canadian. So in this case, and the message of this poem is actually showing and describing how we embrace ourselves of being different. Yeah, so I think that is the message of the poem, which is very interesting. And the next is history. Alright, the history of this poem. She relates this poem as an Asian American history because English was her second language, and she admitted that she was once self-conscious about being different. and she talked because she thought it will be reflect how well he knows the language. Yeah, I think the history is, she really conveys that it's about two different culture, Asian and American, like how she makes this poem, right? And the next one is, okay, and we are moved to a very detail of the poems. We are get into intrinsic elements. The first one is theme. Theme of this poem is actually embrace the difference, because as I convey and as I explain based on my analyze that this poem is about being different, and the theme, the embrace the difference. Embrace the difference, like the poems is, it's describing like every line how Rupi Kaur has two different culture, two different culture, and yeah, that's why I think themes is embrace the difference. And we move to imagery, and I found out there's a one imagery in this poem. So as you know that imagery is the outer use of a language that give a 5 sense in order to help reader imagine what is exactly being described, right? So 5 sense is sight, smell, touch, and etc. It's part of your body. And I found the auditory imagery. I got it. I quote it from the first line. My voice is the spring of two countries, right? So I'm gonna describe based on the auditory imagery. So Rupi Kaur is actually conveys. This is actually refers to heritage and living situation of her. So this is exactly the meaning of my face is the spring of two countries colliding, right? All right. And another one, there's also personification. As I know, personification is the giving of human characteristic and capability to non-human things such as intimate, object, abstract, and animal. So, and I found other lines that is personification. The line is, on the last line, my mouth carries the world. Well, the actual meaning of this is actually, and back to the personification. And the line that I think is a personification is my mouth carries two worlds. It describes that the exactly meaning of this is Rupi Kaur has a two culture, Indian and American, and her perception of herself and how she influenced by the people around her are what count, right? So this is the personification that I choose from the poems. And my last point is of mine. I'm going to make like my opinion about this because the reason I choose this poetry is, again, I want to I want to read again this poetry because it's so touching my heart though. Okay, my voice is the offspring of two countries of colliding, so I can understand that she spoke two different language, Hindi and English. And what is there to be ashamed of English and my mother tongue, my love? Yeah, it's about language. My voice is her father's word and my mother accent. Yeah, this is why I call that. This is why I explain and convey that Rupi Kaur is Indian Canadian. That her father is Canadian, and her mom is Indian. And mother accent. What is the matter if my mouth carries the words? Yeah, basically this poem is very simple, but this is very interesting for me. I think it's very modern. It's really describing like a half person. I call it like this is obviously a half person because as I mentioned many times before that Rupi Kaur is Indian Canadian. So my opinion is this poetry is very unique and relate to our real life, very relate. So this is gonna be like maybe yeah, it can be meaningful to help people in this world. Maybe like it's not only about being half of Indian and Canadian, and maybe like Japanese or Indonesian, like half. So I think it's related to half person. Like yeah, I really like these poems, and I think that's all about my reaction of this poem. And I really recommend this poem to all of you who likes modern poems. And if you are like social media lovers, there's so many variety things that you can do with this poem. You can use this poem as your deeper meaning of your heart. I don't know, but this is a very interesting poem. That's why I just did. I think that's all about my video reaction. And I had a message, and it still relate to this poem, obviously. I think being different is not being different. It's not a bad thing. Being different is unique, so you have to be grateful. Being different is not about you can get along with everyone. So embrace the unique, embrace the difference, and love yourself. Thank you for. I'd like to thanks to my lovely lecturer, Miss Ruiz. Hopefully this video is understandable, and I am really sorry about my wrong pronunciation of my English. And yeah, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this video. Bye bye, happy weekend.